Hello YouTube friends, Dr. Teresa here. Today I'm addressing a question from Ibisabu, and he wants to know if I get newly hatched live brine shrimp from the store or if I pour the shrimp eggs or cysts right into my tank. And many of you know that I don't do either of those things. I actually hatch out brine shrimp myself. It is really not that hard. It does require some time and some efficiencies, but I buy the brine shrimp in bulk to save a little bit of money. And I get mine from Brine Shrimp Direct. I buy them a pound at a time and I store the can in the freezer because it helps it last longer and prevents the hatching rate from decreasing too quickly once the can is open. Then I take brine shrimp from the can and I add it to a smaller container that I use actively. I keep this in the refrigerator. It's usually only maybe a week or two it takes me to get through this container using 3 to 4 scoops at a time to make a batch of brine shrimp, which is not too bad because you don't want to leave it in the refrigerator too long. It loses its percentage of hatching rate. The hatching rate declines once those shrimp or these eggs are exposed to air. So basically, I just put my shrimp in my hatching cone. I let it hatch for 24 hours with a light, and the light that you'll see here is a reptile heat lamp, just to keep the water warm enough and to provide the light needed to stimulate the hatching. And then from there, I go through the process of straining it, rinsing it, and then putting it in an enrichment vessel for a good 12 hours before I feed it to the dwarf seahorses. So I hope that answers your question, Ibisabu. It's a little bit more complicated. The thing that you're talking about, just adding brine shrimp eggs or cysts to the tank, is an old-fashioned idea. That's something that did used to happen in the 50s and 60s, and I believe it was in Robert Strong's book, the one that was devoted to home aquarists, talking about the quick method and the approved method for feeding brine shrimp to the dwarf seahorses. And dumping the eggs into the tank were considered the quick method, but it's very messy. It leaves the tank a mess with eggshells everywhere that have to be cleaned up. But the hatching process itself is very dirty, so there's a lot of nasty bacterias that are harmful as they build up in the dwarf seahorse tank. So that method of adding the cysts directly to the tank is considered the old-fashioned quick method, and as Robert Strong says in his book, the approved method is hatching out the brine shrimp eggs separately. Well, thank you so much for the question. I really appreciate it, and thanks to all of you for joining me. If you found this information interesting or useful in some way, don't forget to give a thumbs up because it really does help my channel. Take care, and I hope to see you next time.